Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Do the beanie weenie. Do the beanie weenie. What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJAY Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. I really do appreciate your time, no matter where you are, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for allowing the State of the Saints podcast to be a part of your listening and viewing pleasure. I really do appreciate it. On this edition, we're going to be talking about, of course, the New Orleans Saints, and we're going to be talking about you, right? Whatever side of the fence that you are on, right? You're the side of the fence of skepticism, or you're on the side of optimism. We're going to be talking about that. Are you justified to feel the way that you do? We're going to be breaking that down. And of course, we're going to be reading some of your comments. And shouts out to everybody that's here right now that's starting to file in. We got a few people that are filing in. I ask that you hit the like button as you come in. Let's help the State of the Saints podcast grow. All right. All those likes that you all put in there, all those comments, it helps the show to grow. So I appreciate people donating. But if you can't do that, I appreciate you just hitting the like button and supporting the State of the Saints podcast like that. All right. Special shout out to all the people out there. Once again, all you have to do is put the comments in the chat. Hey, what's going on? It's TJAY Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And we're about to do what it do, baby. You probably have something to say about the black and gold that's burning hard in your soul. Take those fingers, give them the working. Put them comments in the chat.
Put those comments, put them in the chat.
All you got to do is go ahead and put them things in the chat.
I want to hear what you got to say.
I want to hear from you.
Talk to me and not talk back.
Oh, you ain't got to worry about it. All you got to do is talk to me. I talk back to you now.
Put those comments, put them in the chat.
All you got to do is put them comments in the chat.
I want to hear what you got to say.
I want to hear from you.
Talk to me and not talk back.
Talk to me. I guarantee you, I'm going to talk right back to you.
Nice.
That's right. All you have to do is put those comments in the chat. And for those that are not watching this live and catching it after it goes live, shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys, they be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. Shouts out to all them after show boys out there. Really do appreciate it, man. Shouts out to you. But let's go ahead and get into it. I think I turned heel last night on Bleacher Report. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm asking everybody to download the Bleacher Report app. I did the predictions for the New Orleans Saints 2024 season, according to me. All right. I think I turned heel. I don't know what happened. For those that don't know what heel is, if you watch wrestling, you know that heel is the bad guy. And, I think I gave a prediction that wasn't very pleasing to some Saints fans. I think I was even called a clown. But all in all, man, y'all know how I roll, man. I try to be as honest as I possibly can about my feelings and my views. And I'm unapologetic about that. Thus the hat. All right. But anyway, the 2024 schedule came out and a lot of people have their opinions about the New Orleans Saints and where they are going to land? Are they going to be a double-digit win team? Are they going to be a 9 or 8 win team? Are they going to be a 7-win team? And I base my judgment, and I'm not going to tell you. If you want to check that out, go to Bleacher Report. I did a complete rundown, and shouts out to everybody that did check it out when I went live. But I did a complete rundown, and I gave my prediction based on how I felt about the team, what I seen throughout the last couple of years. And, some Saints fans, they got upset about that because they always say that I'm negative. They say that my takes on the team are negative. TJ, you need to focus more on a positive than a negative. But for all those people out there, I would like to say to them that I am positive. If you look at my podcast, if you focus on the things that I am saying, instead of looking at the negative aspects of it, you'll see. I said that the Saints have the talent to be a playoff team. I've said that when I interviewed Mr. Steve Weiss of the NFL Network. I said that when I interviewed Emery Hunt of CBS Sports HQ this week. I've said this on several episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. But a lot of people, what they do is they have a tendency of kind of locking in on the negative things that you say. And I understand that I am an acquired taste. I know sometimes, people, question me as a Saints fan, which I do not care. But at the end of the day, I'd rather for you to love me for who I am than to love me for who I am not. And what I'm not going to do is sit up here and play this role and tell you, oh, the Saints playing Carolina, win. Cowboys win. The Saints are going to go undefeated 17-0. They're going to be the greatest team ever. When we all have sat up here and seen this team for the last 3 seasons fall short and honestly frustrate us, beyond. Just so far out there, just frustrating us with some of the things that they have done because they are not exceeding expectations. They're actually falling short constantly. And I honestly feel like if you're a person that looks at a certain situation, a person shows you who they are, you got to believe them. If the Saints have shown you over the last 3 seasons who they are, you have to believe them in some ways, right? Let's go ahead and let's go back, right? Let's go back even when Sean Payton was here in his final season. Everybody thought that the New Orleans Saints were going to be a playoff team. Oh, Sean Payton, he's still here. Jameis Winston is the quarterback. The Saints started off, they were like 4-1 or something like that with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston tears his ACL, and then all of a sudden the Saints just go downhill. You know what I'm saying? They just go downhill after that. And then Sean Payton leaves, and in comes Dennis Allen. Now, people kind of question the hiring of Dennis Allen, 8-28 coming in, but they were like, Dennis Allen has a better team. Instead of being with the Raiders, he will be a better coach. First season, bear with me. First season, the Saints went out. They got Tyrann Mathieu. They got Jarvis Landry, along with Michael Thomas, drafted Chris Olave in his very first season as the head coach. Everybody was saying, oh, the Saints are going to be a playoff team. Oh, we're going to win 11 or 12 games. The Saints are going to win the division. Only for the Saints to go 7-10. Well, TJ, man, they had some injuries, man. Jameis got hurt, and they wanted Andy Dalton to play, and they ain't played Jameis, and all these different things going on. Fast forward to 2023. 2023, the New Orleans Saints go out, and they sign Derek Carr. Oh, we got stability at the quarterback position. We finally got stability at the quarterback position. Mike T gonna be healthy. You had Rashid Shaheed in his rookie season. He was exceeding expectations. Now he gonna be in the lineup. And you have Chris Olave coming back after going into year 2. He gonna be better. We gonna have an offense. We gonna be good. We gonna be running the football. And you go 9-8. Okay, so this is 3 years of high expectations for the New Orleans Saints, only for you to be let down by this football team. are, you have no choice but to believe them. But TJ, this is a new offensive staff. We had Pete Carmichael last year. He was a disciple of Sean Payton. He didn't know how to call the plays. You had a new quarterback change. You had a defensive change. Now you got an offensive change. And now that you changed around the offense, now all of a sudden people are supposed to just suspend their imaginations and say, you know what? I think that this team going to win 10, 11 games. Last season, you had the easiest schedule in all of football, and you had 9 wins. And everybody will tell you, even if you are the biggest Saints fan, a lot of those wins came against teams that were struggling. The Saints had manna to fall down from heaven in the form of, and I'm knocking on wood, or I'm not knocking on wood. I don't want to see anybody getting hurt, but manna fell down from heaven in the form of these guys getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? And at the particular time they had to play the Saints, they're playing backups, guys that are inexperienced, and they're out there basically falling short of the goal. So not only did you have the easiest schedule in all of football, you combine that with the fact that you didn't even play some of these teams starting quarterbacks. You played against Josh Dobbs, who had his greatest game in his entire career against you. You played against Tyson Bagent, a guy from Shepherd that nobody even heard of and had to use Wikipedia to find out what school he went to. You played against Tommy DeVito in the New York Football Giants. You played against Gardner Minshew in the Indianapolis Colts. Down the stretch, you had a team in the Atlanta Falcons who basically was on Cancun on 3. And the only team that you can look at that you can say, man, that was a good decisive win was against Tampa. And even Tampa went 9-8. So, and even though they were a playoff team, they basically were a playoff team by default. So when people are skeptical about this team going into 2024, you can't get mad at that because this team has spent the last 3 seasons changing around things that people have felt if you change them, it'll put them over the hump. The Saints have done a really good job at drafting these players. They've done a really good job at trying to stay in the middle. They did a really good job at going out here, evaluating talent and not exhausting themselves to try to get themselves into a point where back in 2025, in 2025, they will be a legit contender. But at the same time, you have to show some of these Saints fans. And I don't feel like it's wrong for you to sit up here and say, I believe in a team. Believe in a team. Just like I believe in a team. I believe in this team. But at the same time, you got to show people and you got to give them something to believe in. Like you can't just go out here based on blind faith. You just can't. And some people, they want to feel that way. And they feel like their allegiance and their love for a team is based on the fact of them just being loyal. But once again, I use this example. If you're in a relationship and that person doesn't come home 3 days, 4 days, you just if they walk back in the house after day 4, after day 3, you just not going to say anything at all. Oh yeah, man, I know you was probably doing something, man. We all good. You're not going to ask any questions. You're not going to look at that person sideways. You're not going to raise the people's eyebrow at them. You're just going to allow them to just keep on doing it. Look, I got a Missouri mind frame. I already told y'all. You got to show me. And I don't feel like my loyalty should be conjoined at the fact that I need this team to show me that they're capable. Do they have the talent to get to the playoffs? Absolutely. But they had the talent to make it to the playoff the last 3 seasons, and they didn't do it. So I don't care who, don't agree with what I'm saying. I mean, people are well within their rights. Just like I understand, once again, how people can be optimistic about this team. But you're being optimistic based on what? Based on what? What are you actually being optimistic about? But besides the fact of the same things every single year we went into the season doing. Oh, we got this. Oh, we got that. That was it. Oh, we got this. Oh, we got that. Oh, we should be. The Saints should have been over the last 3 seasons. But it's time to put up or shut up. And if you can't get the job done, then some changes definitely need to be made up top. But once again, I respect people's opinions about how they feel about the team. I understand the optimism. They got a lot of things to be excited about when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. But you got to be able to produce on the field. But when you're going up against playoff teams, Super Bowl championship quarterbacks, Super Bowl MVP coaches, Super Bowl winning coaches, like my dude, you know, like this is a tough schedule. I know they say, oh, they tied with the Falcons for the easiest schedule. Somebody please tell me, how is this schedule easy? Besides the fact that you play in a division that a lot of people consider it as the worst in football. So on that alone, I feel like that is the reason why maybe they're looking at this as an easy schedule. But the Chiefs aren't an easy team. The Packers aren't an easy team. The Eagles aren't an easy team. Cowboys, as much as we don't like them, aren't an easy team. And you know that the Falcons are going to try to do everything that they can to try to beat the Saints. So these teams are not just going to roll over just because the Saints, you know, decide to go out here and get Clint Kubiak. Because I'm pretty sure that they have a Falcon podcast or a Falcon reporter right now saying, oh, we got Zach Robinson, who came over from the Rams. Our offense is going to improve. I'm pretty sure that we got a new offensive coordinator over here who has proven that he can get the best out of an offense. I'm pretty sure the Carolina Panthers are saying with Dave Canales, he showed that he can improve Baker Mayfield. He can help out Bryce Young. So these teams aren't going to roll over for the New Orleans Saints just because the Saints, you know, have gotten a complete overhaul on offense. These teams are coming in to try to beat the Saints. You know, so there's a lot of question marks surrounding this team, in my opinion. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments here. Let's see. Dennis Allen only had this football team for 2 years, and we judging him for 3 years. Not judging him for 3 years. They're judging him based on the fact of him being 8-28 as a head coach coming in, and also combining the fact that he hasn't made the playoffs in the last 2 seasons. So if you combine that, I mean, that's just the way that it goes. If you're a coach or a quarterback that has never really won anything of significance, and, you know, you come in with that particular reputation, there's nothing that you can actually compare it to. If this was Aaron Rodgers that we was talking about and the Saints had 2 down seasons, a lot of people can look at it like, man, this dude can actually turn it around. So what are you basing it around on? Besides the fact, once again, oh, I'm just a positive guy. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously. Like, if your credit is trash and you go to the bank and say, oh, for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been paying all my bills, but your credit score is 400. I want to get a loan so I can buy this house. You know what they're going to tell you? They're going to say, good for you. Keep doing what you're doing. But you're going to have to prove it to them in order for you to be able to get that loan. That's just the way that it goes. Once again, nobody cares about if you have what it takes. People only go by what they actually seen. And what they have seen is a coach that hasn't won anything of significance. You haven't won a division. You haven't made it to the playoffs. So what are you actually basing it on besides the fact that, oh, he means well. Oh, he was better in his second year than you did in his first. But what did that equal to? You didn't make the playoffs. You didn't win a division where you have the most experienced team, and you couldn't even get out of that division when you had some of the worst teams in football. So that's what people are judging it on. Like, all this stuff about what he can do and what he's capable of. Honestly, I'm pretty sure if you're out of shape right now, you're capable of going to the gym 5 to 7 days a week and getting into tip-top shape. I'm pretty sure if you're a child, you don't know how to tie your shoes. If you practice, eventually you're going to learn how to do it. But you don't know how to do it now, and people are basing that on what you actually showed them. I don't understand. Like we don't use this type of logic in any part of our lives, but we're supposed to apply this to our football team. You're basically a person that's shown that they have not They haven't shown what they can possibly do, but they're telling you that they can do it. If you have a guy that comes in, never had this job before, just graduated from school, and there's this other guy out here who has the experience, who are you going to look at first? You're going to look at the person that has the experience. It's not a knock on that person, but they're going to probably say, man, start at the entry level and work your way up, and then we can have this conversation in the next 2 to 3 years. There is nothing in life that you can compare this situation to. Anything in life, you're going to have to show somebody in order for them to believe in you. If you're married right now, you have to show yourself loyal to your wife or your husband in order for them to feel like you are worthy of them and they are worthy of you. I don't know what other way to put it. Let's see. We had one of the 5 easiest schedules and didn't do ish. Now we're tied for the easiest schedule. I was a fool to believe we can do big things. I'm not falling for it again. They're going to have to show me. That's all. Like, honestly, that's all I'm seeing. People aren't saying that they don't want the team to succeed. They're not saying that they don't want to see the team win. For the most part, people are just saying, you got to show me. But just because you come off, just because you come into the season and you're optimistic about it, and that's cool, but you can't expect other people to do it after they haven't shown that they haven't gotten the results that people feel like they should have had over the last few seasons. Brandon Brown, the schedule last year is off team records for the 2022 season. Plus, we have been 11-6 if Carr didn't get injured against the Lions and Packers. Well, if ifs was fifth, we all would be drunk. Like that what the saying goes? Judging his decision making. Says the Saints having the second easiest schedule is based solely on the combined last year record of teams we played, which I don't think is a good indicator of difficulty. I mean, when you're playing against the Cowboys, who are a playoff team, you're playing against the Packers, who are a playoff team, when you're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the world champions, Eagles, who were a playoff team, Tampa, who were a playoff team, like those are some tough outs. And once again, teams get better every single year. So you can't judge and look at a team and say, oh, they were terrible last year, so we should beat them. Even the Browns. Even the Browns were a good football team for the most part. They had a few little bad, some bad outs. But at the end of the day, I mean, didn't they make the playoffs too? So you're not playing against like a bunch of scrubs here. You're playing against playoff teams. Now, I'm not saying that the Saints can like go toe to toe with these guys, but it's not gonna be an easy feat. It actually, honestly, it would be rather impressive if they make the playoffs. I would be more impressed of them making the playoffs this year than if they would have made it last year. Because to me, I feel like this schedule is way more difficult than it was last year. The beginning of the season of last year, the offensive line was horrible. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have survived Drew Brees. No quarterback. Let's just talk about how bad the offensive line. Look, let me tell you something. Quarterbacks, and anybody will tell you this. I've had several individuals that played the game of football who I have Super Bowl champions. I got people that I talk to behind the scenes basically have told me that the Saints are not going to win until Dennis Allen is gone. I've heard that. And I also heard on several occasions where Derek Carr basically makes that offensive line look worse than what they actually are. Holding on to the ball too long, trying to, not making quick enough decisions. This is what they say. These are people that played the game telling me this. And you're going to tell me all of a sudden, Ryan Ramczyk just automatically just forgot how to play football. That Cesar Ruiz, just automatically just forgot to play football. Eric McCoy just automatically just stopped forgetting how to play football. Andres Pete just automatically forget how to play football. It's amazing to me how all these guys were flirting or almost flirting with a Pro Bowl appearance or being one of the top offenses in the league under Drew Brees. How is that possible? How is that possible? It wasn't that the offensive line just automatically, I don't know, maybe the monsters came down from the planet and zapped all their talent over the last 2 years. I don't know. But these are the same guys that were playing with Drew Brees. Quarterbacks sometimes make the offensive line look better. When Drew Brees was under duress and he knew that somebody was probably going to sack him, what did Drew Brees do? He threw the ball away. He threw the ball into the ground. I can remember Gerald McCoy, the former defensive tackle of Tampa. He said that Drew Brees was one of the most frustrating quarterbacks that he ever played against. And he said, because when you put your hands on him, you think that you're going to bring him down. And then when you roll over, you realize he threw the ball away. So you know what that says? That automatically just tells you, like, him making that smart decision, that's him helping out his offensive line. And also, Drew Brees was putting these guys in a position to succeed. Like, it's not just about the offensive line. The quarterback and offensive line got to be hand in hand. So how is it that these guys were, formidable with Drew, and then all of a sudden, like, they just forgot how to play the offensive line position? Like, these are the same guys that was protecting Drew Brees. These were the same guys that were flirting with Pro Bowls. So all of a sudden, like, now they just forgot how to play football, right? Like, come on, man. We gonna talk about it. I hear a bunch of excuses in the chat today. I hear a bunch of excuses. Let's see. I'll be damned if I fall for the banana in the tailpipe again. I'm keeping quiet till I see with my four eyes. I'm just waiting on the results. And like I said, I've said this before. I would love to be wrong about, my feelings about this team. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about this team, like, and where I feel like they're going to be in 2024. I don't care about being wrong. See, that's the thing. If they go out here and they make the playoffs, they win 10 plus games, I'm happy. I'm excited about it. You can say whatever you want to say, man, you ain't believe in the team. Not at the beginning, but I don't want to feel this way. Who wants to feel this way? Who sits up here and subject themselves to 3.5, 4 hours of football and want to see the team that they root for lose and fall short every single week? Like, we all want to see this team succeed. So you got to, it is what it is. But you got to show fans. You got to give them something to believe in. Brandon Brown, Carr is a top 5 in comebacks and game-winning drives, and the score was 33-28 when Jameis came in cold. Carr would have led us down the field. And what game is this? What game are we talking about here? All right, let's see. I feel offended when you call me a after show boy. I'll be at work, dog. Look, man, the after show boys, that's a term of endearment. You know what I'm saying? That's a term of endearment. It's the people that catch the show afterwards, because, some you don't have to, right? Sometimes, you don't get those notifications, but you click on, the State of Saints podcast YouTube channel and you watch the show afterwards, So, yeah, shouts out to the after show boys. I never got the easy schedule myth. This isn't high school. These are professionals. Any given team can lose on any given Sunday. Yeah, that's true. Like, teams get better every single year. Says, okay, that's their opinion. But what do you base opinions on? That's the whole title of the show today. Are you basing your opinions on optimism? You know what I'm saying? Like, being optimistic, or are you basing your opinion on what's transpired? what's been, put together? I'm pretty sure a lot of Saint fans right now, if they're questioning this team being a playoff team, they're basing it on what they've seen over the last couple of years, where this team has been, looked at as a team with potential, a team that was supposed to be. Like, when Derek Carr came here last season, people were saying that the Saints, one, had the best quarterback in the division, and with him, they can be the best team in the division. So based on that, that's what people are judging it on. Judging on the fact that in Dennis Allen's first season, the Saints had a really well put together team. Well, at least we thought at the time. and they fell short. So, I think that's what people are judging it on, and then you have other people out here that's saying, well, it's a brand new season, all that stuff is just in the past. This is our season. We're going to get it together. And I can understand that too. I'm sure it will. We can beat the Broncos, especially playing on a Thursday night for a 3-day rest from a 3-day rest. Yeah, I mean, it's a home game, so that's a plus. It's not like that game where they had to, play. I want to say, didn't they play? Who did they play? They played I think they played a team away, and then all of a sudden, like they had to travel to the West Coast on a 3-day rest. Like that was tough. I mean, that's a 2-hour time difference. That's on 3 days. That was tough right there. Let's see. This is the same offensive line that got Drew Brees hurt, Jameis Winston hurt, Derek Carr hurt. Jameis Winston had 18 bones broken in his back. Yeah, I mean, look, that may be the case, but Drew Brees played how long with these guys? From 2018 until 2020? You know what I'm saying? So that season's right there. Then you have to look at the fact that, once again, Jameis Winston. How did Jameis Winston get hurt? That's why you got to ask yourself the question as well. How did he get hurt? Did he get hurt standing in the pocket? No, he got hurt by trying to scramble out of the pocket, and Devin White ended up horse collaring the guy and tearing his ACL. So that was an injury that happened outside of the pocket. Let's go back and look at when Derek Carr, when he got hit. Let's go back and look at how long he held on to the football when Danielle Hunter went over there and tattooed him. So we all know about the questions of them holding on to the football too long. This isn't anything that we've already, we haven't already talked about. So I guess, they're supposed to holding on to the football to 8 Mississippis or something. So you can, I see what you're doing, brother, but I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it. And, I see what you're doing, but I ain't buying it, though. Fact, bro, because I'm like, what the F? Let's see. I can't wait until dude fired. I don't look. If he comes out and they play well, if he go out here and play well, I think that, he won't get fired. But this is a do or die year for this dude. It's do or die. TJ, you're saying teams get better is exactly why the strength of schedule is misleading. That means nothing if you can handle business, and you certainly aren't a lock for the playoffs. This is a do or die. I definitely 100% agree with that. It's do or die. TJ, do you think Kendre Miller will leapfrog Jamal Williams in a running back rotation this season? Yeah, I do. I think that Kendre Miller is a talented running back. I think that a lot of the things that were happening kind of stem back from his time at TCU running the football. And he got hurt in that semifinal game in the college football playoffs. So if you combine that and then some of the injuries that he had a little bit earlier in the season, I think that it kind of stunted his growth. But as you see in the game versus Atlanta, I mean, he bounced back. And, no disrespect to Jamal Williams, but I don't know, man. Jamal Williams is more like a one-cut guy, kind of a downhill type guy. So I think he'll find results based on the offense that the Saints are running this season, because it kind of fits his skill set. It's mostly about physicality at the line of scrimmage and being able to run block. So he's one of those guys, he don't really have too much of a, elusiveness to him. He's more of a downhill type guy, a power back. So I think that Kendre Miller is a power back, but he also gives you a little bit of burst as well as elusiveness. And also he can catch the ball out the backfield pretty well. I won't give any records. I need to see our team O-line scheme and new defenders help our team. Yeah. Let's see. I know this is off topic, but what is your take on Austin Rivers saying that the NFL is easy and can find 30 NBA players that can play in the NFL? Well, I'm pretty sure you can probably find a few players that can play in the NFL. I mean, we see that you have basketball players that end up, changing sports and, they find success. I mean, Tony Gonzalez was one, Antonio Gates was another, our own Jimmy Graham was another. So, I mean, there are guys that played basketball that, have found success in the National Football League. But when you think about it, like, it's a tough sport, But I also will say that you may be hard pressed to find 30 NFL players that can play in the NBA. So I think that you can find maybe a few guys that can probably find success in the NFL, but I don't know about 30. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. New Orleans Saints fans already defeated. They wishing the head coach be fired to go to another transition again. Shaking my head. I would never root against my team. Well, I don't think, I feel like this. I don't think people are rooting against their team. They just frustrated at the situation. Man. Like, people want results, and like, man, it's only so much people can actually go through till they say they had enough. Some people, they can deal with the situations, right? But I don't feel like that makes them less of a fan. People want results. The worst thing in the world, in my opinion, is when a person is capable of something and they just don't live up to that potential. I think about running back in the day. Some of y'all know this guy, Lawrence Phillips. Lawrence Phillips was one of the best running backs coming out of the University of Nebraska. He had a lot of issues, man, a lot of troubles with the law. Man, I want to say, what was that, Dick Vermeil, basically wrapped his arms around this guy, gave him an opportunity, gave him a chance, but he just could not, he could not stay out of trouble. But when he was on the field, he was really talented for the Rams. But when you see guys like that, with the potential, and they don't live up to it, it's frustrating. And that includes a football team. And that's what's the most frustrating thing about it. So people just want it to stop in any way that they can. Like, if that means moving on from a coach, if that means, changing some things around, people just want it to stop. And I already said, if you want people to stop talking about you, you want people to start believing in you, all you have to do is start winning. Winning will resolve all of this. Winning will have everybody being quiet. Winning will have Saints fans, rooting for Dennis Allen's success. But right now, it's like, we don't know. Because back to what I said, it's like the person with the 400 credit score going to the bank, trying to get a loan for a house. You probably have paid your bills over the last 2 years, but guess what? Your credit does not reflect that. So for that, we can't do it with you. We can't work with you. You got to build, you got to have some positive equity in order for people to invest in you. That includes the quarterback, that includes the coach, that includes the overall team. All I'm saying is, if anything in life, you have to show people. You have to show yourself worthy. If you have a job right now, you have to show yourself dependable to keep it. If you're in a relationship, you have to show yourself loyal to commit to it. Nothing in life, anybody is just going to give you. There are very few things in life people are going to give you based on face value. And when they give you an opportunity and you're not hitting it out the park, guess what? People are going to be looking at you sideways until you do. I don't make the rules, folks. I don't make them. I just apply life logic, and I apply to the things that I say. If you don't believe me, miss your wife's birthday or your anniversary. You don't believe me, miss your man's birthday or anniversary. You don't believe me, don't be committed to your kids and see how far that gets you. I meant to pick them up, but I couldn't. Oh, I meant to show up to work on time, but I just couldn't make. What do you think is going to happen? Even if you don't get fired, people are going to be like, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to watch him really, really close to see. I'm going to have to watch her really, really close to see if this the right person for the job. I don't know about this, man. I don't know if I need to stay in this. I don't think I'm telling anybody anything they don't already know. That's just life. If Dennis Allen wants people to believe in him, he has to start winning. He has to prove himself worthy of being the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And right now he hasn't. I mean, there's some pot, like we all know that Dennis Allen can coach the heck out of some defense. We all know that. He's one of the best defensive minds in all of football. But as a head coach, like there are question marks about that. If Dennis Allen was the defensive coordinator and the Saints had, I don't know, a coach like Matt LaFleur, there's not a Saints fan on the face of God's green earth that wouldn't be picking the Saints to win the division or possibly going to the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. Because they believe in Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. DA is one heck of a defensive coordinator, but as a head coach, there are question marks. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't make the rules. I don't want to kick. I don't want to kick it with you, skate with you, nothing, man. T.I. on ATL, man. Watch that. I bet you had a real good laugh with this. Lauren, is it? I don't know you right here. That's your beamer? What that boy Jason Weaver said, man, he cold on him, man. Let's see, TJ, I think if Kubiak runs his offense and Allen runs his defense and stay out of the offense, we're going to be all right. Well, I do think that you want to know what's going on, man. You got to kind of lean in it. You know what I'm saying? You got to lean in the room, you know what I'm saying, see what's going on. But I understand what you're saying. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're going to do. Because I'm pretty sure that Dennis Allen would like to focus, mostly on the defensive plan and making sure that he has that game plan and be comfortable with the fact that his offensive coordinator and offensive coaching staff can be able to do their job. That's the way I think. But I think that I think never the two shall meet. But you also have to be able to facilitate this. You got to be able to understand like what's going on, because that's kind of what got Sean Payton in trouble. I ain't saying that Clint Kubiak gonna be doing what Greg Williams did, but y'all know what I'm saying, man. You got to know the left hand got to know what the right hand doing. Greg Walker, exactly. But everyone acts like Allen is totally useless. Well, he definitely ain't useless. But at the same time, he hasn't won anything as a coach. See, that's the thing, man. Like, once again, I keep on saying the same thing. Nobody is questioning this guy as a coordinator, as a person. Like, who's like, honestly, when people are questioning the Saints, has anybody came out here and said, "Oh, the Saints defense ain't gonna look good"? Why? Because that's his top quality right there. That's his key quality. Nobody's questioning the defense. Nobody's going to question if the Saints defense is going to be prepared on Sunday, because more than likely it will. And we know that it's going to be the bright spot of the team because that is his calling card. But we're talking about the overall team. We're talking about making sure that you put these guys in the right position to succeed, making the adjustments at halftime, making the tough decisions if something is not working, not keep on trying to force the issue, but changing some things around. Question, ladies and gentlemen. How many changes did you see when the Saints were struggling? How many things did you actually see the Saints do in order for them to actually get better? In reality, they basically just kept the same people out there over and over and over again until, weeks passed, and then, some things happened. Guys started to get hurt, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, I'm bringing this guy in. You had Jimmy freaking Graham. This is a prime example. You had Jimmy Graham. Every time this guy's in the red zone, you throw the ball his way, he scored a touchdown. Why in the world is he not in the game? If Derek Carr is injured to a point where he is not 100%, and you know for a fact that people are judging him based on the person that came before him and Drew Brees, and knowing that this guy is hurt and not being able to give you everything that you possibly can. You can hate on Jameis Winston all you want to, but you should have had that conversation and say, Derek, we respect the warrior mentality. We respect the fact that you want to go out there and play for your team, but we need you down the stretch. And hell, maybe that 4-1 record that the Saints had would have happened prematurely. But you got to start to have these tough conversations. It's beyond that. You can't just be good at one particular thing. You just can't. Like when you're in management, and I know I'm talking to somebody that's in management right now, or somebody in a managerial role. You can't just be over here. You got to be able to facilitate and know what's going on. You got to know people strong points and weak points. You got to understand what this person is good at and what they're not good at. And if a person is over here not doing what they need to do, you got to be able to find what they do and put them over there. And then eventually, once they start to master that, and when you have time, then you kind of gradually bring them back to where they were. That's management 101. That's the way things supposed to be. But all I'm saying is his defensive acumen has never been in question. That is his key quality. It's the other stuff that is questioned. It's the other stuff that's going on, folks. You know, you'll never hear me say anything else, anything negative about Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. Because he is, in my opinion, he's the best defensive coordinator in football. In my opinion, we have seen him on countless occasions neutralize some of the best quarterbacks in the league, unless they can run with their legs. I mean, other than that, if they're in the pocket, it's going to be a tough outing for you. We've seen him neutralize Tom Brady on several occasions. Even Patrick Mahomes, for the most part, when he came to the Dome, he wasn't lighting it up. The Saints kind of settled in, and they had a defensive plan, and he was looking pretty mortal. Besides that pass that he threw in the back of the end zone to Nico Hartman, I mean, that was a straight dime. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty mortal based on what we have seen Patrick Mahomes do in real time, in prime time when the game is on the line. So his defensive prowess has never been questioned. It's the other stuff. Do you think if Carr don't get hurt, do you think we make the playoffs before he got hurt? He did make 2 key throws to end the game. Alfred, I said this, and this goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. If you would have had that tough conversation with Derek Carr and set him down, and who knows, I am not saying that if Jameis came into the game or Jameis had a full week, the Saints would have just had 4 touchdowns, 400 yards, and been about as explosive as an atomic bomb. But all I'm saying is, I think that there would have been less scrutiny, less pessimistic talk about Derek Carr right now, and the way that people feel about him right now probably wouldn't be how it is right now. Because you probably didn't have that conversation with him. Because you decided to bring him out there when you knew he wasn't 100%. Instead of you having that tough conversation, you honestly opened this guy up to more scrutiny. And you have to ask yourself this question, like, did we get a fair assessment of who Derek Carr was? But here's the thing. You put yourself in this position. Because if you would have had this conversation and basically had Derek Carr, let's just say Derek got hurt in that Green Bay game, right? He left the game. Jameis comes in. He has a shoulder injury. He didn't practice that whole doggone week, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, it was light stuff. Right. But for the most part, like, you could have just had that conversation with him and told him, man, look, we love the effort. We love the hustle, man, but we're going to need you down the stretch. When you're playing against some of these teams that had quarterback issues, when you were going up against some of these teams that were very limited at the time, I feel like if he was playing hurt and he wasn't 100%, we're judging him based on number 4 on his back and Carr above that number 4. That's what we judging them on. Nobody cares what you had to do to get onto the field, because for the most part, we're not privy to that type of information. We don't see you getting up out of bed in the morning. It takes you about 10, 15 minutes. We don't see your wife having to, walk you to the bathroom or whatever. We don't see this stuff. I'm not saying that happened, but y'all get what I'm saying. So when you go out there, only thing people say is, well, he was well enough to play, so I'm going to judge him based on that. So if you probably would have set this dude down, I don't know if the Saints would have won those football games. I don't know. I don't know if they would have had the same record they did when Derek Carr was playing. But Derek Carr would not have looked the way that he does in the eyes of Saints fans today as he does right now. So if you would have had that conversation, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So to answer your question, Alfred, would he have been better? Who knows? But you might have had that situation. I mean, down the stretch when he started to feel better, I mean, they went 4-1. So who's to say that, a few of those losses down the stretch, all you need is like one more win. So if you was healthy enough to be able to lead this team to one more victory, we talking about the playoffs. So that's what I'm saying, like having these tough conversations to be able to, to save a guy from himself sometimes. You gotta be able to do that. When your offense gets many 3-and-outs, your defense will get tired and worn out. I agree with that. Greg says, who that? Big Smokey says Saints need to beat good teams. They're going to have to if they're going to make the postseason this year. Because I think a lot of the teams that didn't make the playoffs are probably going to get better. And those teams that made the playoffs, they probably upset, for the exception of the Kansas City Chiefs, that they didn't win it all. Crab Legs wouldn't have one diddly squat. I mean, but who knows? But that's all I'm saying. Like, just like who knows if Derek Carr would have won, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Who knows if he would have won anything? But, but you got to be careful on that one. You got to be careful on that one because, you got to be careful on that. Let's see. Allen will be there to dry Carr tears the first time he falls with his apron strings. Anyone that speaks out will be shipped out. That's not a winning culture. Yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to have those tough conversations with your guy. So, and think about this every. You're judging. What are you judging Jameis Winston not being able to win on? What are you doing? What are you doing now? Come on now. If you're saying that Jameis Winston ain't going to win, you're judging this based on what you have seen in the past, right? I'm just saying, Everett, you're judging that based on what he's seen in the past, right, buddy? All right. So you basically form your evaluation that Jameis won't be able to win anything based on the fact that you feel like what he showed you in the past. So you didn't have the confidence in Jameis Winston to win. I just want to let you know. So when you say that, you got to have this positive, mind frame about the Saints, think about what you're doing about Jameis Winston. You're judging Jameis Winston based on this quarterback play in the past, right? You feel like because he didn't get it done in Tampa, because of some of the things that you've seen in him in the Saints uniform, you're saying that if he would have came in the game, he wouldn't have won anything. So when you say that, I prefer to be positive, think about the Saints fans that choose to be positive about Jameis Winston. I just want you to understand that. So when you say he's not going to win nothing, that's the same thing when people say stuff about Dennis Allen. He hasn't won anything. So they're judging Dennis Allen based on what he has shown them. The same way you're judging Jameis Winston based on what he's shown you. I love it, the fact that we're playing tough teams early. I like that too, because it's going to tell you, Everett. Man, shouts out to Everett, man. I love Everett. Oh, man. I love Everett, man. Shouts out to Everett. But, yeah, man, like I like how the team, I like how we're going to find out what they are and who they are very, very early. Against Andy Dalton and Pete Carmichael in the frigid weather game. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. They're going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one, but I mean, a good defense, it travels. Let's see, the Baddest Sports Show podcast in the Deep South next time. TJ, open the phone lines. You got to chime in, Everett, Senior and Junior. Yeah, shout out to Everett Jr., man. I know he's in broadcasting now, man, doing a really good job over there. I want to say he went to Millsaps, if I'm not mistaken, man, out there in Jackson. So shouts out to that brother, man. And, keep up that good work. I check him out and I watch what he's doing, man. And shouts out to you, Everett, man. I mean, I know you got to be proud of your son and what he's doing right now. Rose says DA is the coach till he ain't the coach, as well as DC. For people who want DA to fail is saying you want the team to fail. I'm not fine on DA, but I want wins. But let me see. If he can't get it done, he got to go. Yeah, look, like I said, I did my predictions, and I'm asking everybody to check it out. All you got to do is download the Bleacher Report app. You can click on the link, and you'll be able to find the episode. I did a prediction show. I honestly, based on what I said and what I said about this team, Lord knows I want to be wrong. Like, Lord knows I want to be wrong about my take and my assessment on the New Orleans Saints in 2024. And look, I will gladly eat crow. Y'all know how I roll. When I'm wrong about something, I open up them phone lines. I let people see. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't throw the brick, hide my hand. This is all opinionated stuff, based on what you say. I put the link down in the chat. So like I said, download the Bleacher Report app and you'll be able to check that out. Let's see. TJ is the GOAT. Well, I appreciate that, Jerry. That means a lot coming from you. Yeah, Belhaven. I'm sorry, Belhaven. I know it was one of them schools. I know it was Belhaven or Millsap. Yeah, but he went to Belhaven. Yes. But that's still in Jackson, though. So shouts out to Jackson, Mississippi right there, man. Boy, I remember running through Belhaven back in the day when I was at Jackson State, man. We used to like roll up on their parties and stuff like that, man. Be up in that party hopping and stuff like back in the day. Man, that was some good stuff right there. That was some good stuff right there. Like that was some good times. There Millsaps out there in Clinton. Yeah. We're gonna need a Spencer Rattler song from you, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, look, I wanna make a song, for Spencer Rattler, but I gotta see something. I gotta see something. I believe in him now. I believe in him. I definitely believe in him. What percentage do you think is the likelihood the Saints trade Lattimore? I'm not gonna say 100% sure that they won't. I'm gonna have to say like maybe 10% that they probably would trade him. I don't think that would be a good idea, especially if you like, you can have that decision. You can make that decision on what you want to do with him in 2025, but I try to keep him. But I respect the fact that they're trying to protect themselves, based on, some of the injuries that he had over the last couple of years, and also the possibility of maybe shopping him, or a team maybe making an intriguing offer to you. So by getting Kool-Aid McKinstry, that helps. Hey, TJ, what do you think happens if the Saints are good, make the playoffs, and Clint gets head coaching interviews? Well, you have to go out there and try to find Clint Kubiak again. That's just that simple. But I mean, that's what all offensive coordinators aspire to do, right? They aspire to become head coaches. At least they should. I don't think Pete Carmichael, I don't think that was his goal. I think Pete Carmichael just liked football and like going over the X's and O's and stuff like that. I don't think he really aspired to be a head coach, or a offensive play caller on a consistent basis. I always compare Pete Carmichael to Jonah Hill on Moneyball. Like Jonah Hill was the one that was like behind the scenes making things happen, like coming up with this different game plan. And then you had Brad Pitt that was kind of carrying it out. So that's the way I look at him. He's more like the Jonah Hill to Sean Payton's Brad Pitt. I think that, if you make him the front man, I think we all understood that that's just not his role. But you need Pete Carmichael's. Like, you need them. Like, you need great thinkers on your team. Like, everybody can't sit up here and be a good orator. Everybody can't bring everybody into the room, but they can come up with that PowerPoint presentation and keep them up in there. So I think that, he was necessary to what the Saints did. And I do agree with Drew Brees when he said that he was extremely instrumental. Because I think sometimes when we look at or think about somebody being instrumental, we think about them just being heavily involved and they're like the front man. He doesn't have to be the front man, I mean, he can be the guy that just coming up with the game plan, staying up at 2 a.m. in the morning and watching all that old film from other teams and say, man, I just saw this play right here and it worked. I think we need to install this. I mean, you need those type of guys. So, look, I ain't got no problem with P. Carmichael. I just think that as a play caller consistently on a week-by-week basis, I just think that that's just not him. But I think that if you have him somewhere on your team and he's involved with your offense, I think you're a better offense because of it. You know, I just don't think that he's I don't think he's the trigger man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the caddy. And anybody that plays golf, you understand how important a caddy is. Like, some people just think a caddy is somebody that holds the bag. No, sir. A caddy is the type of person that has the conversation with the golfer and tells him, what golf club to use in certain, terrains. He's the guy out there that's testing the grass. He's the one out there that's trying to, focus on wind resistance and what you need to do and go back to tell that golfer, hey, man, it's a little windy out there. The wind is shifting from the east right here. So you might want to use this when you get on the 14th. That is, that is what a good caddy does. That's a caddy's job. So when you see those guys like Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods and all, and Rory McIlroy and all these other cats that have been winning majors, like they have some bomb caddies, man. Those caddies are not just people that just holding a bag. They are responsible, just as responsible for the success of that golfer. So, P. Carmichael, to me, he's a good whisperer. He's just not the guy that's there with the bullhorn, if that makes any sense. The Saints have the best team on defense on paper, definitely in the secondary. I agree, but it's been like that for the last couple of years. I would still like to see what Spencer got if Carr doesn't succeed. I think we all will. But, I don't want to see Spencer Rattler in the regular season. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not the fact that I don't believe in a guy, but I believe if you see him, it's two things that happen. One of them, that means that the Saints are just so bad that they got to make a change. All right. The other is, more than likely, you're probably not going to see Derek Carr for the foreseeable future. And like I said, at this particular time, at this moment, and I could be wrong, but I would not take Spencer Rattler over Derek Carr right now. Now, next year or a year after that, we have a different story. But I still feel like there's some things that he needs to work on. And I could be wrong. Like, sometimes we see these guys get thrust into the lineup and they just knock it out the park. But at this point, I wouldn't want to see Spencer Rattler over Derek Carr because I feel like at this point, Derek Carr, with his experience, the game is, has slowed down for him. Even though sometimes, we wonder to ourselves, what the heck is Derek Carr doing? But I don't want to see Spencer Rattler right now, I think the expectations of Spencer Rattler, I understand the positivity, the energy, the aura that he comes with, but I wouldn't choose him over Derek Carr right now. I want to see this guy sit, get those mental reps, learn how to become a professional, learn how to become a veteran, learn how to become a player in the National Football League before he takes the field. Let's see. I definitely agree. I'm not worried about the front seven. No, I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm not concerned about that. Our D-line needs to be on the hot seat. Yeah, man. I mean, they got to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. That was another issue. They play fundamental defense. They're fundamentally sound. They're a fundamental team. The Saints are the San Antonio Spurs of the National Football League on defense. Y'all know how it go, man. Like, the San Antonio Spurs were a fundamental basketball team. I'm talking about when they had Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, and you had Muhammad coming off the bench, and you had Robert Ory, and Sean Elliott, if you want to go back a little bit further. They were a fundamentally sound basketball team. They weren't lobbing it from half court like during the time when the Clippers were Lob City, right? They were a fundamentally sound team, but they got the job done. 2 points is, Tim Duncan, shooting that ball off the glass. That's equivalent to the same DeAndre Jordan, alley oop, from his point guard. So, that's the way I look at the Saints. Like they ain't gonna wow you. They just gonna be where they need to be and do what they need to do at that particular point. But sometimes, man, you need some explosiveness. You need to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. You need to get them down on the ground. You need to be able to turn that ball over. You get what I'm saying? You got to be able to get that ball back into the hands of the offense, which they did a better job last season than the year before. So I'll give them that. But my final thoughts before I get up out of here, nobody's right and nobody's wrong. That includes me, right? We don't know what this season is going to be. All we can do is basically speculate. We don't know if the Saints are going to be a team that is not going to make the playoffs. We don't know if the Saints are going to make the playoffs. All we can do is have a wait and see approach. I respect the individuals that have a wait and see approach with the team. They rather be optimistic about the team and where the team is going. They rather look at 9-8 as a testament to where the team is going versus some people that think that it's taking a step back. We got to be very, very careful at, basically like just looking at this football team and just saying to ourselves, they ain't never going to be nothing. Look, I feel like when it comes down to it, we all want this team to be successful. We all want this team to be successful. My thing is open your eyes, take a look, make the necessary adjustments when necessary, all the while cheering and rooting that your team can be able to figure it out. Hopefully they can. Like I said, I did my prediction on Bleacher Report. Hopefully, I'm wrong about the situation, but that's how I feel right now. But, if I'm proven wrong, trust me, I would be extremely glad about being wrong because I love this football team. I tell people all the time, I've been rooting for this football team since I was 4 years old, as far as I can remember. I was the age of my son. First time I remember sitting on the floor and, I see, Seth Green on a Rally's commercial saying cha-ching and the Saints using that as they rallying cry for that particular year. I can remember, Mario Bates running a football. I can remember Ray Zellers running a football. I can remember Andre Hastings and Sean Dawkins and Eric Martin and all these other guys. I can remember that. So when I say I love this football team, man, I love this football team. I can remember having to go to church from 11 to 1 and using a VCR to record the first half because I want to be able to go back and watch it. All the while when I get home and the second half is going on, the Saints are losing by 2 touchdowns. But still, I'm rewinding, trying to figure out how they got down by those 2 touchdowns. So I take no pride in saying that I feel like my team is going to fall short. I never want to be more wrong about anything in my life than the Saints not exceeding expectations. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, my name is TJAY Jones. Shouts out to everybody watching this on X. Shouts out to everybody watching this on YouTube and Facebook. I really do appreciate it. Much love to you. I ask that you subscribe to the channel. If we won you over, subscribe to the channel. If we won you over, hit the like button. We're a very interactive podcast, man. No matter if you donate, no matter if you're just in the chat trying to have a good time, talk about your favorite football team. We have tough conversations, but at the end of the day, guess what? We all say those same 2 words, and that is who that, right? We're all Saints fans. We all want what's best for this team, and that's what it's all about, all right? So sometimes we're going to agree to disagree, but guess what? It's all love here. Your opinion matters. I value your opinion. Doesn't matter where you're coming from with your opinion. Sometimes those opinions are way out in left field. Hell, some of my opinions are way out in left field, but guess what? Once again, it's all about saying those 2 words collectively, right? And that is who that. Previous episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. And also you can check out Gumbo Pie Sports Podcast. And be on the lookout later on this evening. I will be having a sit-down interview with 2-time Super Bowl champion of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mr. Brian McFadden will be on the show. So be on the lookout for that. That will be coming out probably later on tonight. So be on the lookout for that. And also, man, I'm reaching out to my guy Holder Mayo, trying to arrange an interview with him. coming up pretty soon. We're going to try to arrange that, try to have him on the show as well coming soon. So got some good things lined up for the State of the Saints podcast. Always trying to give you all positive content that you all can enjoy. That's what it's all about here on this channel. But thank you all so much. Really do appreciate it. Have a good morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. Shouts out to the After Show boys. Shouts out to the ones in the chat. And like always, all I got to say is, who that?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.